as well. And I gotta change the title. I mean, I like stream element more than autumn, to be honest. It is it is easier to use, and also I don't have to go through all the I don't have to go through the page to just change the title and change the topic. Hope they work on this. Okay. Give me a minute. Give me another minute. Ooh, good. Okay, good. Thought I got it set up. Oh, all right. So I finally changed to Linux, and there is some changes in here as well. So let me go through. Let me go through what changes. So a couple of things here. Previously, I was using the desktop version of Chrome, right? And every time when I have to change something or ask the agents to do some changes for me, I would have to provide the file and also tell him to, and it will eventually give me the file, and I will have to update it manually. It's not like the desktop version isn't capable of doing the changes for me and reading file, but the desktop version rely on the connector, MCP connector called Window MCP, something like that. And because that connector is not very reliable, so it's still in the early stage. So that's uh I would say that's expected. Yeah. So it can read my files. It can read my it can change the file for me. Every time when I try to ask it to read the file, the worst is it will pretend to be able to read the file and think of something to change for me, but eventually it's not gonna work. So yeah, and also because of some of the reason like the performance of the Windows 11, so I changed to Linux and some privacy issue as well. And so that's that. And because of that, I have to change to use the command line version, the CLI version, because the Clockwork desktop just not gonna work in Linux environment. They don't have that support. And so now what you're seeing here is uh, sorry, the CLI version. And as you can see, this is a huge difference. And also some other, it got a command list as well. So you can explore it if you want. And because I already have subscriptions, so I'm using my I'm using my account for the login. But if you don't have subscription, there's a couple options you can do with Cockroach. So either like me, you go to go apply for your go pay for your subscription, and then log in with your account, and whatever usage or whatever limitation you have will follow your account. But if you think those are not fulfilling your need, you can also use an API version. This is already using the API version, so you just need to connect to our. You just need to set up the connect. I don't know what to do because I haven't because I'm not using that route. So you might have to check it yourself. But yes, and by that one, you will pay what how, you pay for your usage. I don't have the price, so you will have to check it yourself as well. And I'm not interested in that round too because it could be very pricey, especially if you keep doing that, keep doing something, and you forgot about the price or something like that. It will cost you a fortune, and I'm not good at tracking the cost, especially if I in the middle of working. If I can keep using it, I will keep using it. So that's why I'm not gonna do that route. But you do you if you are able to control it, then that's good. That's good for you. So you can see there is a course in here and show the total cost and duration of the current session. So yeah, if you use the API version, it will show you how how much have you used, how much money do you spend on it. So that's what. And also there's another change as well. I changed it to a different approach to use it. And let me show you what I mean. So previously, I'm just sending the I'm just typing the prompt and then ask the AI to read all the code and I'm just going to make sure we keep staying in the same chat, but we don't actually give it any instruction to follow. So I changed the approach. So you can see there is so this is a crop.md file. It is a markdown file. And what markdown file mean is basically it's just a format for the file, but you can tell the AI to say, okay, this is the for crop, it will automatically read the crop.md here. And so this is set up your project information, like what kind of engine you're using, what language you're using, and any third-party library, any instruction on for example, in here, I said, okay, my project is supporting two different language, and the when I use the translation, it will do something like this, and it basically just gives giving the instruction on where to set things up and like what control method I'm going to support, so I don't have to keep repeating it every time when I switch to focus on a new feature. So this is all the key function, all the key feature, all the key instruction that will share across the whole product. And also the funny thing is, I created the baseline of this one, the first draft, and then I asked the AI to read through my project and update this for me, and we kind of have some back and forth on how to how to change this one, and so this is the current version we have, and clearly something I need to address. I need to change in the future, but that's what we are going to use for now. Yeah, these code patterns, file structure, and also some instruction here. Yeah, so that's the project insight. If you look at the desktop version, you will see there's a section called project insight, and if you look at previous stream, uh, you will also see that part as well. I think I have a brief talk on that one. So this is just the updated version, and so also when you set up a new function, new feature, when you try to develop a new feature, basically you just need to provide the AI, just tell it, okay, so what we are going to do and what reference you're going to read on, and also like some rules they have to follow, and also a to-do list on what's next and what has been done, what's going to do next, and you just basically show the step. And from here, I added a new folder called rules and feature. I just put it by feature, and this is the file we were talking about for the grid-based inventory. So we will dive a little bit details on this one. And first, it's just a basic introduction. Nothing new in here. Nothing new here. And then what the core feature is, explain the first one, the grid-based placement, just that grid UI. Yeah, and because the reason why I had to add this line is because the example or the code reference we provided do have a rotation method, but we don't want it here. So I have to specifically tell it we don't want the item rotation. And also we will need to make sure we have a dual support. It's just a keyboard and mouse. Keyboard and mouse or controller. And also the item stacking system and swapping as well. Like the item I can drag the items to on top of other items, and if they are not the same items and they can't stack together, they will swap. This one is kind of pointless, but because the we want to make sure the AI knows what we're doing, so we will have to add this one. And so does this one. So this is just the function that drop on the floor. And this is the current stage, what we have been done in the last couple of streams. Yeah, so those are just the things. And what have we missing? What is missing? In the system architecture. And some of the references as well. And the file structure. And just the list. Yeah, so the other thing is this feature, this markdown, same as before. I draft the first draft and talk to the AI to see how we can improve on the instruction. Like I tell the AI to read through the project and see what we can do. Let me see. Can I find the existing the previous session? Yeah, doesn't seems to be able to do that. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, okay. Uh, 2 days ago. Yep. So this is what I did previously for updating the updating the instruction. So what I did is just ask that I would like to plan out the project structure instruction and so we can have a better planning and ask it to read through the file, read through the project, but ignore some other things because some of the things add on is generated by the third party library, which we don't really need it. No, not we don't need it, but because it's not created by us, so we don't want it to become part of the standard, become part of our standard. So now he uh walking through the step. Okay, read the current one, explore the project, blah 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 blah, something like that. So now this is how this is how it goes. And oh, I just I just I just realized I didn't show you anything. Yeah, okay, so now let's go back a little bit. I'm sorry. Still getting used to it. So this is the AI tools we're talking about, and here is the instruction I gave to the AI to update the project structure. So I just asked it, okay, please read through the current instruction file, and then read through the project and try to update it for me. Ignore some of the part that is not created by us, and it just run through the session, blah 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 blah, and then it will create a difference in here, and you will have to read through it, and it will ask you, okay, so now do you want to apply that, or you want to adjust it, or you want to like do it yourself. Yeah, so that's something like that. So now let's begin. uh, let's begin. Speaking of the phase one, so let's read through the markdown first. Let's read through the markdown ourselves. So we want to continue with the phase one. And in here you can see, okay, the phase one we need to complete the world item. Because some of them, something are missing. You can see there's the world item is incomplete. And also, if I remember correctly, there are also some critical parts missing. So critical missing feature, the world item hasn't been implemented yet. And also the item pickup system. Yeah, something like that. I do think in the future I wanted games to just support like, and I put this mainly for keyboard, but whatever. Just finish off this one and we will change it later. So we focus on the world items implementation first, and then first we should focus on the world item implementation. So there's a couple things. The player will only be able to pick up items that is close to that. So in order to do that, we will have to add a collection box just for the pickup. There's a couple ways you can do it. You can either say, okay, when the user click on it, see check the item's location. If the location is in within a certain range of the player, then okay, you can pick it. You can pick it up. But that's dumb. That's the old way to do it. When you have to create your own collection checking. Now for the game engine now, you can just add a collection box and do it by that. Just check, okay, if the collection box is collide with the items, then you can pick it up. We set up collection box to check if the setup collection box to check if the player if the item is if the items is within range. The collection box should be about double the size of the player. And if the player collect hello. I was gonna ask it to do like when the user click on the items because right now we're still thinking of okay we have keyboard and mouse, right? So I was thinking if the user click on the items then and it's not within the collection box, then we should then the user should sorry the player should walk to the items automatically, right? But if we want to ditch the mouse, then maybe it is not a good idea. Let's just skip that part. We just need to check if it is within range. That's the inventory for now. Inventory, but scale down to match the users, the players. Let's see how it will go. I don't think we need to give it this instruction because it's just setting up the row item and we can always like do the math ourselves or change it on the UI. But let's see how the air will handle it. Sorry, a second. Okay. Okay. Anything we missed? So let's begin with the phase one. First we should first we are going to focus on the. Can I just click on here? I mean, that's one thing I don't like about CRM, the terminal question, is that because it's all one sentence. So if I wanted to change some word early on, I would have to do something like this. We go into we don't need it first. We're gonna focus on the world item annotation. The player will only be able to pick up items that is close to them. Please set up a collision box to check if the item is within range. The collision box should be double the size of the player, and the world item should use the same image as in the inventory. The scale down the place. Okay, yeah. So the other things, uh, if the user's inventory, if the players, if there is no room for the item, also check if there's room for the items. No empty spot, or if that is stackable items. If so, what should we do? If the player is trying to get something, try to pick up something, but they don't have place for them to pick it up, then what should we do? Should we just drop the item? Yeah, just drop the item. I think that's how Path of Exile do, right? In theory, it should have a little animation. So when the player try to grab the items, try to pick up the item, but there's no space, it will drop back to the world. But it should be in a different location. So let's begin with phase one. We're going to implement. Okay, this is not clear. Shit. Okay. That's just not clear. So Here's some rule. First, item player will collection box to check if the items is within range. Only only allow the users only allow players to pick up the items when it it's when it is. Second, what was the other one we were talking about? So the first one is yeah, the other one is the images using the same one. Use same image as in the inventory, but scale down to match the player's size. Third, okay, so if the player if there is no room for the items in the inventory, no empty spot the items, or as that is full. Or over the stat limit. The item will drop back to the world. Drop back into the world. Drop back into the world. Drop back into the world. Yeah. And fourth, should not completely overlap with each other. Okay, anything else? I think that's it. Would you mind? Hey, What happens? I think I think you can detect I'm trying to say the code, but so here's the part. So in here you can see, okay, it show me what's the new added in here. It asks me if I'm satisfied if I'm satisfied with the change. And you can see there's three options. One, yes, want to make the change. Yes, but don't ask it again in this session. And the last one is no, tell the AI what you want to change. I would strongly suggest you don't choose the second one, especially if you're someone like me, very fresh, very new to this things, and I would say just don't. Maybe you already fine tune your AI so good that you trust it and trust it completely. But I still think it is not a good idea to just let it run for while to change all the things for you. It is not a good practice. It is dangerous. So I wouldn't recommend it. But now let's just look through it. So what it I think it already included what I want to say. So for these two, for this one and this the second one, sorry, this is the first one about the area checking. So it's already have that requirement in place. And the second one, the the look of the item, it already has something in place. We just add some addition information in here. And in here, these are the two new information. Okay, I get it. I think we just check the markdown, so it's as long as the instruction is clear, everything should be fine. So yes, let's change it. So now this is the new information about the raw item. Permission detection area to determine pickup range. Just scale use same images for scale to match player size. Full inventory handling. Item drop back to room. Inventory has no room. Split step limit. Item position to prevent complete overlap with each other. Key pickup when item when player is in range when further feedback. No, that's good. That's actually good. Yes. That's what we were asking you to do, right? So that's definitely a yes. Hmm. I have no idea why it always try to update my file first. Personally, ask it not to do so. I do wonder, would this one be able to create the scenes for me? Because the scenes item is actually just another cooking file, right? So in theory, it should be able to create the scenes for me, but I don't know. I don't know if that's smart enough to do so. Okay, so signal if player nearby, if player item pick up, yeah, that's okay. So these are just the signal when to detect if the user is within the range, move out from the range, and if the item has been picked up or not. I feel like we're missing something, but I don't think this is important at the moment. So when we work on the map, because we're 2D, right? So even though we're 2D, but we also have the 3D structure, like the ZS. So you can go up to the mountains or go up the stair, and you can just like stand next to the cliff. And in theory, you shouldn't be able to pick up items that is on top of on top of or on the bottom of the other side of, depends on where you're standing. If your player is standing on top of the cliff, then you shouldn't be able to pick up anything at the bottom, right? So, but I think we missed that one. But because we haven't even implemented that part yet, so I don't want to overcomplicate the task. Because we can always come back and update this one, right? You don't necessarily need to make all the things working immediately, like working as an intent completely. We can do it step by step. Okay, so now get here. that just set up the items so it would be much easier to access in the future. I mean, within this scope. Anyway. Mhm. So now this is for scale down the items in the world. It's not necessarily 0.5. We can tune it later, but I think it we doesn't need to be perfect in here. We can always change it ourselves. Oh, it also have the bouncy animation. It's good. I think it's because all the reference we provided also have this kind of structure, this structure or this feature, so that will include it. But this is what we want as well, so we're gonna leave it. And yeah, it just setting the player's in or out signal. So for this one, you can see they say assuming layer 2 is player. It's not necessarily true. It could be something else, but we will check on our engine later. When if it is not, then we can just come back here and change the number. That's not biggie. So we set up the virtual components and the animation. Okay. So that just set up the item. When we drop it, it will call to this function to set up everything we need, getting data from the item DB. It feels like it is going to run through the script round. Okay, so here, uh, let me add something here. Mm, touch. Yep. So here's the thing. Uh, let's just ignore this. Let's take this game UI as example. So you see, this is the game UI.gd. Basically, it means crypto script. Yep. And so you see, this is the user. This is the user structure we saw earlier. Just the ready and all the function, blah blah blah. But you can also see it is trying to do some control. It's just trying to read some control on the UI itself. Like for example, this one, UI inventory overlay. And where does it come from? It is coming from the scene, right? And if we go back to the engine, Yeah, if you go back to the engine and you go to the same one, yeah, in the same folder, you see the game UI.gd here, right? But you can also see this .tscn file. This is the screen. So if you click on this one, you see there's something comes up in here, and you can take a look on the screen. So basically, this is just mean this setting, but at the same times, this is actually just a code. It's not necessary to change it on the UI on the UI level, although it will looks better. It will looks better because it will be easier for the user like us, for humans. But you can actually add it as a code. So this is the one. Okay, so you see the say GD scenes, no step, blah blah blah, and the texture 2D. That's basically just a structure. And let's look at the UI overlay. Okay, so you will see there is yep, here. So there's a node name called UI overlay. Sorry, inventory overlay. And we should find the panels in here. In here somewhere. Ah, yeah. Is that so? No. Yeah, anyway, you get the gist. So we can actually do the coding bit like this. Or in some cases, especially when the cases that the things will got the items we generate will got disappear and reappear later, and it would be a completely new items. We don't want it to we don't want it to be like the same items just appear and reappearing. Yeah, we just don't want it to visible and invisible changing the status. We want it to be completely new items. Then we will usually create items in here in the .gd file. But if the face is just hidden as show again, like maybe a door, it's always there, but you have to reach a certain requirement in order to see it or open the door, then it will be much better. We set it up as a pop-up note with the tscn file. Okay, where are we? Yeah, yeah, yeah. The setting. Set up the visual components. So now this is the phase we were talking about. Create a new spike 2D and create a new collision box. Create all the things new here by the coding round. So this is what I'm talking about. And I'm not saying this is not right, this is incorrect, but this is not the best way to do it. Especially if you have human involved in here. So we're gonna change it. This is that you create the so I don't know it's just because if it's just because the file is not there. Uh, hmm. No, we already have things like this. Then why are we? Why do we have the need to create these the file from the? Why do we have the need to create that from here? That really doesn't make sense. We'll be creating next in scenes in the script, and we already have the scenes files and plans. So I guess because the AI doesn't recognize what what the scenes file is, so it was trying to read. It was trying to do everything in the script file. I think this is a downside for using uh, some UI based engine that could probably happen with Unity as well, but I think because Unity or Unreal is a more popular engine, and from what I heard, it has a better implementation with there as well. So you can, I know there may be some, there might be some connector you can do with Unity, but from what I heard is it can tell you step by step how to do it, and also you can do screen capture and give it like, okay, read this part, what I'm doing wrong, and it will tell you how what was the next step what was the next step you should do on the UI by yourself. Even though they can't change anything for you, but you can do it. But I think because we are using our open source engine, there's not much information they have. There's not much information on the internet for the AI to actually understand or fully understand what's happening and what is the scene file means. So it tend to resolve everything in the script folder in the script file. I think we might need to add this into Rubo if so. What we are doing right now is try to see if the AI is capable of reading that scene file and then follow the instruction to use that instead of create every note inside the script. And if this is okay, then we will need to add this instruction to the rulebook, to the general rulebook, the core.md. So just to make sure every time when we ask new questions, maybe when we work in some other feature in the future, it will stay with this config. We it will just follow this rule and never go back to resolve on the coding level. Just in case the instruction is not correct or I'm doing something wrong, we also wanted to provide the related information. The we also want to provide this information to the AI to make sure we can understand each other talking on the same page. Let's see. Let's see what is said about the dot .pscn file. don't. I mean, it's good. It is good. Maybe some people prefer this positive adjectives, but I don't quite like the idea that you're absolutely right or blah blah blah. I know I'm not, and you need it. I heard that someone created a LLM that is mean to the user all the time. So I might spend some time trying that. Don't know. Okay, let's just check. Let's just read through it. Everything is the same here. Um, hmm. Yeah, we already have that. Okay, so good. What the heck is it? What is the interaction? Oh, okay, okay, okay. Yeah, just a label. So add a statable label. Okay, I can accept that because this is not necessary appear. I'm sorry. I do want to try other theme though. This theme is I'm very used to it, so it's fine. But maybe it's not the best one. So let's just check if the collection is set up or not. Okay, on volume. Hmm. Okay, so it's trying to pick up the item here and get the attempt to if not playable or not. So if there is no player or no items here, then it will fail. If the inventory not if there's no inventory in there, yeah, that's fine. If it is successfully added, then it is success and return true. Otherwise, it will be false. And if pickup is success, then it is fine. We don't have audio yet, so We'll just leave it there and remove this item from the row. Okay. Hmm. Okay, so far I think it's everything is good. Just like it changes. Yep, so now it will try to change the UI as well because it is the so the UI is something we will apply every time when we in a playable situation. If you're in the settings pages, the gaming UI is not there. If you're in the main pages, the main menu not there as well. Save loading pages not there. So adding in here is the best way to handle it. And so previously, it's just trying to preload the items in here and then drop it in position. Right now, we will use the where item swap and position function, which is this one. Because this is a static file, so that means we can call it without creating a new instance. And once everything is finished, okay, and in the swarm function, you should also, yeah, it will add it to the scene. So it remove this one. Yes, that's pretty straightforward. I think the player is already in the group. I think the player is already in the group. Where is that? Mm, Hmm. Ah, So we already put the player into a group called player, but with the capital P. So we don't need it. We don't need it in here. Yes, we need to update that the wheel items. I don't think it tested in here. Okay, so now we get the world item done. And what we're gonna do next is, because we don't want to repeat the same argument every single time, so we want to add this rule into the core.md. In the future, we would like to in our TSC and files instead of creating inside the GB script. Unless it is a temporary forget my spelling. I'm sure you'll get it. Unless it's a temporary it's just temporary um, I'm stuck at spelling where I don't have autocorrect. Unless this is a temporary note, or the note will be destroyed after some player actions. Oh, unless or the note will be destroyed under some conditions. We would like to create note in this far instead of creating inside the GDU unless it's a temporary note or the note will be destroyed under some condition. we should be able to add this rule into the core.md. So so we can make sure everybody following this thing. Yep, that's good. Yeah, so this is the other thing. You're never gonna set the root. You're never gonna set the perfect root at one go, especially if you're not like very skillful developer. And even that, I think you will still have to change the root from time to time. So it's always the best practice to keep updating the file. So to make sure the AI know what we're going to do and follow the root every single time. Hello, Linda. I noticed my cat's head is getting big a little bit. Maybe I feed her too much. Yes, what is this? Uh, this is a good question. So eventually you will have to test it once all the feature or the code is in place, and then you have to come back and tell the AI or do it yourself to change it. But you can read through the code line by line. Like for example here. So if you're looking at the code right now, yeah, that's true. And this is what I will do. I will look at the code and explain to myself, okay, this what this is doing, what this line is doing, what the next is doing, and see if that makes sense in my head. If the logic is not if the logic is not making sense when I try to explain it to myself or explain it to some others, that means this is definitely not doing the job we want. You will not going to actually get it right completely. Like, there's no way you can just walk looking at the code and then can picture it in your heads completely correct. Especially when we are talking about game, this is a very big picture, and maybe if you're very skillful or have many years experience, like when I did for web development, I can picture it in my head and doesn't really need to uh I will still need to test it after it's done, but basically I can have an image in my head. But that's because I have experience on that. But for this situation, you will definitely not gonna get it 100% correct. Kind of. The rubber duck method means you have to explain the code to someone, some things. Usually rubber duck is because the rubber duck won't get too bored to kill you. But yeah, so you try to explain step by step, line by line to someone, and in the process, you will have to think about what this is doing, and then you start to get the full picture in your head, and once you explain it, you can spot the nonsense, or you can spot something that's not gonna work. So that's what's the method for, just to make sure you as the developer understand what you're doing. It's not necessarily correct because sometimes you're the one getting things wrong. You as the developer are doing something wrong, and the logic might not match what you think, but it can still work a different way, or it's doing a completely different things. You're completely sidetracked by some other reason for some reason, and yeah, maybe where after you explain it, you will still get it wrong. And it doesn't matter because at the end you will still need to run it and try it yourself. But that's one way to make sure at least you know what you're doing in some way. Does it make sense? It's good. Okay, so now we get that pattern. What will be the next? Okay, so we got the world items complete. And we also have the item pickup system complete as well. Let's run it to see if there's anything wrong. It can read the transcription. Okay. Yeah. I completely forgot to lower it up. Guys. So yeah, for some reason it can't load up the transcription. Maybe it's the issue with the path because previously we are working on Windows, right? But now we swap the Linux, so that's something different. Oh, sorry, I completely forgot the step. Okay, so phase earn. Huh. I think we accidentally rolled back some of the changes. Yeah, definitely the case. Mm, Okay, there's something wrong with the code. So yeah, that's one of the things. When we look at it, everything is fine, but you know, there's some hidden setting you might need to work on, and therefore it just fell in here. Argument 4 should be Nook 2D, but it is. What is this? Okay, so now here's one thing the AI get it wrong, and that's also why you need to run it and take a look on the full picture as well. So in here, this function is trying to pass the UI itself to the word item in order for it to do something, right? And in here, sorry, let me swim to that. So, okay, yeah. So in here, it's trying to get a Nook 2D, but our game UI is not a Nook 2D. It's something else. Yeah. So because this is something else, so it will fail. So let's just try if okay, if we just gonna replace this one, whatever it. Okay, let's just try again. Okay, there's still something wrong. Hmm, do we have this function yet? We do. We do have this function. Invalid access to property or key. Okay, so that's not the case. That's not the reason. Okay, so now we get an error in here. Yeah. This is another example that you would still have to test it because if you just look at the changes it made, everything looks makes sense, right? But when you actually apply the change to it, everything just fall apart. So yes, just change it. That, that actually makes sense because there's no slash UI in here. Now let's see. Okay, we got something else, but it is because we can't find the player here. So I don't think we need AI for this. So that's a couple of things we can check. But first, let's check if the if we actually put the player to the UI, yeah. So you can see we didn't put a player here, so that's the reason. I think after this we'll have to see why it's broken, because you see the name is definitely using the label the is that the actual things we need. Okay, so because this one is not complete yet, but at least we got the but at least we got the game running. There's still a bunch of things we need to set up, we need to finish before we can actually test the full feature. But that's the gist of it. Okay, so I think that's it for today. So the a little recap. We finish off the world items setup. We managed to do some bug fix to make sure the game is at least running, and also we set up some ground rules for the future of the development. So make sure the AI knows what we are doing, and also we mentioned some how to set up the rule as well. So next time we are going to see if we can finish off the whole data structure, finish off the whole inventory. Since we are here, yep. So just adding the raw items. We have to do it separately. Yeah, I haven't slept well last night. I was worried about a lot of things, like the whole flea situation. Yeah, I should mention. So uh the day before, on Monday, something like that. I find my cat has flea. So and the the treatment we use is not strong enough to actually exterminate it. So, but luckily it's not very serious. I can clone him. Sorry, I can clone a lot of free out from her. Not by a lot, maybe 10, maybe it feels like I clone about 10 to 30 fleas in total. If I can count it, it's not that big of deal. But I spent a couple of days to just clone her to make sure every single flea is clean, and also myself give her a collar to a flea collar to get rid of the flea, and also take care of the rabbit as well because I'm afraid he got infected as well. But luckily he didn't. At least I can't find anything on him, and also I have the treatment in for the rabbit as well, so that's good news. And so I worry about a lot of that too. And also I don't know if that is because I separated the cats from the rabbits for yesterday for the whole day. So last night she's getting a little bit hyper and keep trying to play with the rabbit. But my rabbit is the old man, so he clearly doesn't like it, and therefore they just trace each other in the room for a very long time, and I can feel my rabbit is getting angry and exhausted. So I have to put on a gate to separate them. Just give my rabbit a piece of uh, just just some time for a peaceful night. And so yeah, I have to keep checking if the gate is solid or not, or yeah, something like that. So it's kind of exhausting. Yeah. But anyway, I think we're done today, and we will come back on Friday and see if we can uh make the inventory working. So our goal for this Friday would be able to see the inventory, and we can like drop something on the map, pick something up later, and check around in the inventory and see if we can relocate some of the item, and also can see if we can stack some item as well. So that's the goal. See if we can do it on Friday, and if not, maybe last week. So that's the goal. Anyway, thank you for watching. See you guys on Friday. Bye bye.